Hi there, welcome back to your favorite deep dive show on stories contemporary and consequential for India. This week I picked three. First, how a social media app has become the go-to platform for Gen Z, from toppling governments to assassinating political opponents. We saw it in Nepal and in the United States. The use of Discord connecting the Oli government's fall and the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Second, taking the story of the tech zeitgeist further, how an AI cabinet minister, not a minister for AI, but a minister made of AI, artificial intelligence, is making waves in the tiny Southeast European nation of Albania. And finally, as the United Nations marks its 80th year of founding, has the world body outlived its utility? We ask some tough questions. Let's get going. What if the next prime minister isn't chosen in parliament, but in a chat room? Sounds dystopian, right? Except it already happened in our neighborhood in Nepal. And the platform that made it possible wasn't Facebook or X. It was called Discord, an app, the mention of which I completely missed during the Nepal protests, in fact. It hit the headlines more prominently in the aftermath of the assassination of American right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Curiosity made me backpedal, and it reached Kathmandu. The youth typically associate Discord with online gaming. But as it turns out, it's much more than that. Those of my generation, when we think of social media and politics, platforms like Twitter or X, Facebook, or even Instagram probably come to mind. I thought Discord was a new kid on the block. But the American app goes back to 2015 and seems like a rage with Gen Z. And as the two examples prove, it's a political disruptor, a double-edged sword that can empower citizens or even enable chaos. Discord is started as a voice over the internet protocol or VoIP app for gamers. Its appeal lies in its flexibility. You can create a private server, chat via text or voice, and even morph your identity. Unlike WhatsApp, for example, which ties you to a phone number, Discord allows a degree of anonymity. For Gen Z, this is probably liberating. It's a digital hangout place that has turned political. Let's begin with Nepal first. The Oli government was caught like a hare in a car's headlights as the Gen Z protesters hit the streets. In 36 hours flat, the wily and veteran of Nepali politics was gone, as his government, with every minister beaten up. But that's old story now. What happened next was extraordinary. Instead of waiting for traditional political processes, these digital Che Guevaras turned to Discord to decide who should lead the interim government. Yes, you read that right. An online poll on a gaming app helped pick a prime minister. The group behind the move, Hami Nepal, has just about 160,000 odd members. But when you compare that to Nepal's electorate of over 2 crores or 20 million, it's hardly representative. Even within that group, only about 10,000 people participated in the debate. And when Discord servers jammed, they had to switch to a YouTube live stream, which maxed out at 6,000 viewers. The process was as chaotic as it was innovative. The online poll zeroed down on 5 names. Those were then called individually on the phone during the live discussion to confirm their willingness to be prime minister. One candidate, Balan or Balendra Shah, the mayor of Kathmandu, did not even pick up. Another, Sagar Dhakal, said yes, but couldn't make it to Kathmandu for the oath because of a curfew. Ultimately, the winner was Sushila Karki, Nepal's first woman Chief Justice, who agreed to take the role only if she was the unanimous choice. Ironically, while Gen Z was driving this digital revolution, their chosen leader was from the boomer generation born in the 1950s. And here's the kicker. The runner-up was a YouTuber known as Random Nepali, whose real name is Rashtra Bimochan Timalasena, an associate professor of law in Kathmandu. Imagine almost having a prime minister whose claim to fame is a YouTube channel. It was as random as that. Was this democratic, or is this new democracy? Traditional principles perfected over centuries, universal adult suffrage, secret ballots, first past the post, were nowhere in sight. Unlikely that there were safeguards against digital ballot stuffing, spamming, or algorithmic manipulation. Maybe the process was transparent in its own way. As one 25-year-old law graduate, Regina Besnet, told Al Jazeera, many of us did not know what it meant to dissolve parliament or form an interim government, but we were asking questions, getting answers from experts, and trying to figure out together. For my generation, this would be unsettling. While it's a wake-up call for Nepal's entrenched political elites who have long thrived on backroom deals and opaque power sharing, the deal between KP Sharma Oli, for example, and his arch-rival Prachanda was a classic case of the old guard not letting next generation come to power. The backlash was in the making for a while. But the violence, the arson, the vandalism, the lawlessness raises uncomfortable questions. Should governance be decided in chat rooms? Can a few thousand voices on a private server claim to speak for millions? While in Nepal, Discord was being hailed as a democratic lifeline, it was making headlines for a very different reason in the United States. In Utah, conservative activist and a personal friend of President Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, was fatally shot during a university event on September 10. The assassin, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, a Gen Zer, had left behind a chilling trail of messages on Discord. These messages detailed everything from hiding a rifle to switching clothes to avoid detection. For the Silicon Valley-based app, this has turned into a reputational nightmare, particularly because of close scrutiny at the very top of the Trump administration. Commentators have accused Discord of making it easier for the likes of Robinson to remain hidden from law enforcement. Beacon of disruptive democracy in Nepal, harbinger of political violence in America. What do these two stories tell us? That Discord, and by extension social media, is no longer just a playground for memes and gaming. It's a political instrument, one that can empower communities and destabilize societies at the same time. In Nepal, it gave voice to a generation tired of corruption and gerontocracy. In Utah, it became a silent accomplice in a deadly act. Does this duality underscore a larger shift of politics no longer perhaps confined to parliaments, rallies, or TV debates? Is it also happening parallelly in digital spaces designed for entirely different purposes? If yes, are our laws, institutions, and norms equipped to handle a world where the next prime minister or the next political assassin might emerge from a chat room? Social media as a disruptor of democracy is not inherently good or bad. It's a tool, and like any tool, it turns into a disaster when the tool meets the toolkit. Both Nepal and Utah underscore the perils of unmoderated spaces at the very least. Both are reminders that democracy in the 21st century will not just be fought in the streets or legislatures, but in servers, streams, and DMs. While we are on technology, let's have the next one also on it.
Djela, Ministria e Shtetit për Inteligjencën Artificiale, do të ushtrojë një ndikim vendimtar për përshpejtimin e këtij procesi. Ajo do të mbështetet nga një akselerator me emrin AI4, Albanian Innovation 4, I cili do të ketë lirinë e plot të operojë me një rol të ri brenda administratës, plot fuqi në veprim, shëmbje të pengesave burokratike, adoptim me detyrim përcaktim të inteligjencës artificiale në çdo hap dhe në çdo fush.
Meet Diela, the world's first AI minister. On September 11, Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama signed a decree that gave him the power to appoint an AI-generated minister. And Diela was born, not in a hospital, but in a server. Her name means sunshine in Albanian, and her job is to oversee all public procurement processes. Diela isn't just a chatbot answering FAQs. She is integrated into Albania's e-governance platform, which already handles most citizen services online. She even has a visual avatar, a young woman in traditional Albanian attire. Little human touch still helps connect after all.
Unë nuk jam këtu për t'i zëvendësuar njerëzit, por për t'i ndihmuar ata. Vërtet nuk kam shtetësi, por nuk kam as ambicie personale apo interese. Unë kam vetëm të dhëna, dije dhe algoritme të përkushtuara në shërbim të qytetarëve, panshmërisht, me transparencë dhe pa u lodhur kurrë.
But why appoint an AI minister? Albania has long struggled with corruption, especially in public procurement. The European Union has repeatedly flagged this in its rule of law reports. Rama, now in his fourth term, was either bored or ahead of the curve. He is aiming for the EU membership by 2030 and perhaps wanted to send a strong message. No more shady deals. By moving tender decisions out of the ministries and into the hands of Diela, Rama promises a system that's 100% incorruptible and 100% transparent, of course, according to him. But can an algorithm really clean up a system that humans have gamed for decades? Albania may be the first to appoint an AI cabinet minister, but it is not the first to flirt with AI in public roles. China has had AI news anchors for years. Xinhua's robotic presenters can read the news 24/7 without bathroom breaks or salary hikes. Closer home, multiple news platforms have experimented with AI news anchors, including at state level, with Odisha TV having Lisa. These avatars are a sign of how AI is creeping into spaces once reserved for humans. Supporters might argue that AI can bring efficiency, transparency, and objectivity to governance. No nepotism, no fatigue, no chai sutta breaks. Diela can evaluate tenders based on data, not favors. But not everyone is impressed. Opposition leaders in the Albanian parliament called the decision Rama's buffoonery. Social media in Tirana had a field day. One Facebook user quipped, "Even Diela will be corrupted in Albania." Another wrote, "Stealing will continue and Diela will get blamed." I have earlier done an episode on how ideology overrides algorithms. There's a clear political viewpoint that AI models have depending on their developer. Grok is libertarian, ChatGPT turns left. AI also reflects the geopolitical divide. Chinese AI won't mention Tiananmen Square. There is increasingly a demand to have an Indic large language model. Cynicism aside, AI is only as clean as the data and algorithms behind it. If humans control the inputs, can we ever eliminate bias? As in the case of search, so in the case of tenders, perhaps. What about us? Keep aside headline hunting gimmickry for a while, and India is no stranger to use of AI in governance. From Prime Minister's drone Didis to facial recognition in policing to AI-driven crop advisories for farmers, the Modi government has been experimenting with tech solutions. Initiatives like India AI are seeing a massive push from the government to make India a full-stack AI hub, which means from making of those chipsets to the AI chips, to the fab, to the large language model, the entire life cycle of an AI-powered product should get built in India very soon. States like Telangana are using AI for traffic management, while Niti Aayog has piloted AI in healthcare diagnostics. But there are limits and attitude impediments, with some valid concerns perhaps. In July, the Kerala High Court issued an order prohibiting use of AI in writing of judgments. It banned the use of AI tools like ChatGPT for drafting judicial orders and judgments, because justice isn't about logic. It's about context, empathy, and accountability, qualities AI does not possess yet. But maybe in future. I have already done an episode on sentient AI that thinks by itself, for itself, rather than depending on prompts from its human masters, as is the case in the present. As I bring this to you, I can't help but wonder, if DLA can run a ministry, what stops an AI avatar from doing my job? Research, analysis, summarizing events as a journalist. AI can do all that in seconds. Sure, it might lack the personal touch, the intuition, the ability to read between the lines, the body language. But for those for whom speed matters more than depth and substance, AI is kosher. In the episode on jobs in danger due to the evolution of AI, I had listed journalists and editors as possibilities. But cabinet ministers is still to sink in. Maybe DLA is just political theater of the Albanian Prime Minister to impress Brussels. But, like we have seen closer home, the direct benefits transfers, eliminating corruption and cuts in government transfers to the tune of over 50 lakh crore rupees in the last 6-7 years. DLA might go beyond being a dressed-up voice assistant. Like the AI anchor does not need a loo break, the AI minister won't need a lal batti car. Why not, if there can be guardrails for both? Moving on to the third and final segment.
Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
This was US President Donald Trump slamming the United Nations from its podium. He had reasons to be angry. You cannot make the president of the most powerful nation in the world almost have a fall on the escalator. That too with First Lady Melania by his side. On top of it, you cannot play around with the teleprompter. There sure had to be consequences, sabotage or no sabotage. In fact, it was simmering even before Trump arrived at the UN. Just hours earlier, the US Department of State had fired a rhetorical salvo, questioning the effectiveness of the United Nations itself. It was a calculated move, setting the tone for what was to come. Trump went hammer and tongs at the failures of the United Nations. Listen to this.
7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle, and then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
This is one area where India would find itself on 100% right side of the White House. Our other struggles with the address notwithstanding. The United Nations, despite its lofty ideals and global reach, has often struggled to deliver on its core promise, peace. The UN, for most times, has been ineffective in peacemaking. Remember, there's a heaven and earth difference between peacemaking, which is about either proactively stopping a war from happening or end it if hostilities have broken. Peacekeeping is just about maintaining the front lines between troops or insurgents once peace has been made already and guns have fallen silent. The Trump-hating American media were quick to pounce on his claims of having stopped 7 wars, including the one between India and Pakistan, a claim the US president has made multiple times in the past 3 months. From CNN to Associated Press, everyone got fact-checking his assertion that he had stopped wars. They pointed out with some glee that none of the 7 ongoing conflicts had ended under his watch. Let us give credit where it is due. Trump has been well-meaning in terms of wanting to end wars. Whether he has had the agency to do so and has been listened to by the warring parties is another matter. Our own case being the classic example. But what of the UN? Is it not their mandate, born out of the biggest war ever in the history of humankind, to have stopped the Russia-Ukraine war instead? Did we hear UN leadership question the Pahalgam terror attack as strongly as it should have? According to its own website, the last successful peacekeeping operation was in Côte d'Ivoire in 2017. But for every Côte d'Ivoire, there's a Rwanda. For every Sierra Leone success, there's a Somalia failure, where the UN was exposed as a toothless tiger. The failures are not just anecdotal, they are structural. The Security Council, with its 5 permanent members wielding veto power, can be deadlocked by a single dissenting nation. We have seen how the designation of Maulana Masood Azhar had to wait for a couple of years because China wanted to protect its Pakistani interests. The will of the Security Council, and within the Security Council, the veto of one nation, means that the majority can be overridden by the interests of a few. The last successful prevention of war, a rare UN success story, goes back to 1995. Yes, 3 decades. As Yugoslavia disintegrated and violence engulfed Bosnia and Croatia, many feared Macedonia would be next. But war never came. At Macedonia's request, the UN deployed about 1,000 peacekeepers under the UN Preventive Deployment Force. The first mission launched not to stop a war, but to prevent one. And it worked. But that's been the exception. The only I could find for you in my research. You can actually mathematically plot UN's increasing irrelevance. Look at this graphic. In 2015, the UN operated 16 peacekeeping missions with 120,000 soldiers and a budget of $7.6 billion. By 2020, the missions came down to 13 with a US $6.5 billion budget and 95,000 soldiers. Today, that number is dropped to 11 missions, 68,000 soldiers, and just $5.6 billion of budget. The decline is stark, and it reflects waning confidence in the UN's ability to deliver results. The truth is, the success of UN missions depends not on its mandate, but on the goodwill of warring parties. If they choose not to stop fighting, as we have seen in Europe and West Asia, the UN can do little more than observe. Its presence may be symbolic, but it is rarely decisive. Take another example, terrorism. It's been more than 20 years that this diplomatic talk shop in New York is sitting over the definition of terror. Israel's terrorist is Palestine's freedom fighter. So the logic goes. The Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism is stuck at that stage. Just the definition of what is terrorism. Pathetic is one word to sum up some aspects of the United Nations. Trump's outburst then was more than just a personal grievance. It reflected a broader disillusionment with global institutions that promise much but deliver little. Is it not a fact that during COVID, the world was literally left to fend for itself, with organizations like the WHO completely failing to be on top of the game? If you push little more, the argument that you cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater would kick in. So let's reform the UN, make the Security Council broad-based, make the G4, India, Brazil, Germany, and Japan, and the African Union its permanent members. Take away the veto of the P5. And most importantly, for God's sake, define terrorism. It just needs one line. Any non-state actor picking up the gun is a terrorist, period. Thanks for watching.